All right, welcome, everybody. I am James Oliver Jr., co-founder and CEO of Kabila, which y'all know because you're all in the community, is a co-founder matching app. Our prototype is launching in December. I see Caleb, our CTO, is on here. So isn't that right, Caleb? And we have this amazing community we have here. Help you all be better founders and better humans. And I'm just like so incredibly thankful for this conversation we're about to have with this guy right here, man. And I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time reading off his bio because I know he wouldn't want me to do that anyway. And I don't want to do it because I want to get right to the juiciness that he has for y'all. But this here is my man, 40 grand, maybe it's 50 grand, my man, 50 grand. John Hill, evangelist from Techstars. So real quick, I did write down a little bit about your background. I want to tell the people here, John. So John has been at Techstars for nearly 9 years now, and he was an evangelist at LinkedIn. What's going on, John? How are you, buddy?
How you doing, James? Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Like, people understand your travel schedule where have you been in the last 2 weeks?
So actually, if we spread it out to the last 20, I think it's 29 days now, I've been in 14 states and 5 countries. So
in the last month, 14 states and 5 countries.
In the last month, yeah. Just about everywhere you can think of. Florida, Alabama, Texas, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa. I was in DC for a bit, spoke in Maine, Connecticut. Yeah. I was in Berlin, London, Amsterdam, Stockholm. So been popping all over the place.
Yeah, it's nuts. So the fact that you took time out, and you were in Austin, right?
I was in Austin, yeah.
As I sat down and talked with you in Austin, we did a little interview. Is that thing ever going to publish or not?
Yeah, I think parts of it are. So that I told you before, that was a trial. So we're trying to emulate what you're doing
all
here.
Good, man. But yeah, so the point is John is crazy busy, but he is one of the most connected people I know, which is why I wanted to have him come and talk with y'all because, you know, he's a master at relationship building. And if you follow him on Twitter, people can follow him on Twitter at Techstars John. You should follow him on Twitter. He's a master at relationship building. And we were just talking about how people are raising capital. And he made the comment that folks need to stop trying to raise capital, that they need to raise relationships instead. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta go tweet this shit. And then I saw you tweeted it after the fact.
I loved it. I don't think I've ever said that way before. So
it was so good.
Ended up being a good quote.
So, but I see people doing it all wrong, right? So I wanted to bring you in to talk about first of all, why do you say it's important to raise relationships and not raise capital? Why do you say that?
Yeah, it actually comes down to some of the work that I did at Michigan State University. So I was director of alumni career services at Michigan State before I went to LinkedIn during the recession. And I was in a university that was 45 miles away from the automotive industry. And during that recession, 2009 to 2011, automotive industry absolutely imploded. And I was working with people who worked in it, trying to help them change jobs. And what I found was they were so focused on their careers within that space. They knew the vernacular, they knew like how to navigate the job search within automotive. But once that went away, they hadn't built relationships outside of automotive. So when they had to redefine themselves as a professional, when they had to find new jobs, new opportunities, they didn't know how to do it because they didn't effectively reach out to a network, broaden it out that could support them when they needed it at that time. So that kind of developed that build the network before you need it. So it's there when you do idea that I've been talking about for 15 years now.
Do you feel like people are listening to you when you say that? Because I say that a lot too.
Yeah, so I think then as you start to take that concept and idea and apply it to other verticals, so like entrepreneurship, it's easy to see how it relates to it. So if I'm trying to navigate investors, what I see with a lot of founders is their first interaction is asking for money. If your first interaction is asking for money, you've already failed. So you need to step back.
Can you say that again, please? Don't just skip over. That was very important what you just said. If your first interaction, what?
Yeah, if your first interaction with an investor is to ask for money, you failed. Like you're already behind the eight ball. And so, that simple concept of starting to sow the seeds that grow the plants that you want to harvest, which is investors, um, starts with outreach to let them know who you are. And the interesting thing, James, is a lot of startups don't realize the capital that they have walking into an investor. Investors need one thing specifically, qualified deal flow. So they want to see startups, but number two, they want insights on what's happening in industry. They want to see technological trends. If you're an early seed stage tech startup, you are doing things that other people are not doing. Those investors want to see that because they want to see what they'll be investing in 2 to 5 years from now. So you have capital that you can exchange for advice. And it's another thing that I always say, James, is, if you want money, ask for advice. If you want advice, ask for money, right?
So true. So true. It's so true, man. Um, yeah, I wish we had a megaphone and could just like go to the world's highest building, a massive megaphone, and we could just put on repeat what you just said the last 2 minutes and just blast it so the whole world can hear it.
Yeah, I try my best. I speak all over the place, James.
But I don't, like even this, like everybody that joins my communities, they're all like, "Oh, we need capital. What's the number one unique thing you need? We need capital. We need capital." And it's just like, I'm like, yeah, but you got to show up and you got to build relationships and you got to do the work. Nobody's just going to roll up and just give you a bag of money.
Yep. I think the relationships are the most difficult thing for people to build. Very few come in with a relational network that will open up the door to investors immediately. It doesn't happen.
That is
Um,
true.
and so knowing that, if you think about it, you develop a strategy for go to market, you develop a strategy for product development. Yet
Yeah,
very few develop a strategy on how to build the relationships you need to get what your primary need is as an early seed stage company, which is capital, right?
yeah,
Investors,
yeah,
right? That should be just as important as all those other things that you're doing. Those relationships that you need to build there should be just as important because they're the lifeblood for your company long term.
yeah. So that's a good comment from Sneha. I've added mentors, potential investors to monthly updates by Paper Street, and they actually respond with ideas, connection. Paper Street is great. We actually use it here at Techstars.
Tech,
By the way, if y'all have questions for John, drop them in the Q&A, and we'll get to as many of them as possible. So John, just piggyback on what you just said, like LinkedIn, that's something that you are a master at. How should people be using LinkedIn to build relationships and improve their fundraising odds?
yeah, and you and I have talked a little bit about this in the past, James. LinkedIn is not a great communication tool. Like I would not use it for communication, but it is an incredible database of information on people.
What do
And
you mean by
so
that? You wouldn't use it for communication. What does that mean?
LinkedIn InMail is not effective. It's not
Okay.
the way that I would navigate to connect into investors. What I would do is utilize the information that connects to those investors. So I can see all the first, second level connections that I have that connect to an investor. I can see all their affiliations. Where do they go to university? What content do they support and move? What organizations do they follow? What industries do they follow? And I can use that in an ask to them to generate advice. So, hey, create affordable email. I know so and so. I'm going to activate them. So reach out to them and say, hey, can you introduce me to this investor? And in that affordable, say, play off all the affiliations that will bring the barrier of entry down. We went to the same university as a good one. We work in the same industry. Your thesis aligns with what my company is developing. And, then in that structure, I would do some gives. We're learning some really interesting things about the industry right now. I think it would be great to share it with you. Would also love your advice on what we're doing for go to market, or advice on how we should hire, or advice how we should develop this product.
Yeah.
And in that sentence structure, like advice is a powerful thing. It's a door opener, and most people leave it as an aside. But you're utilizing a relationship to connect into somebody. You're using affiliations to connect into somebody. You're taking a cold call into a warm call, essentially.
Mhm.
And you're starting the relationship with a give to that investor, which opens up the door long-term to
Yes.
get an ask back.
No, I love that because I love how you tie the ask for advice thing, but also, so I think I have a podcast, Parents Making Profits. So we just dropped an episode today and we reviewed two books, one of which was Give and Take by Adam Grant.
That's a good book. I have it in my shelf right there.
We talked about what you just said, is how to give, how to most effectively give, because I think people don't really understand how to do that. So I love that you said that. So if you're game, my mind was blown, John, when you came here and showed us how to navigate LinkedIn. I don't know if that's something you can talk about. If it is, though, can I just like pull up my LinkedIn page? I went to Morehouse. Show me how to mine my Morehouse alumni to do the thing that you showed us to do. Can we do that or no?
Yeah, go ahead and share screen and I'll actually walk you through it.
All right, cool. So Lavelle said the name of the book was Give and Take. Really, really good book, y'all.
Yeah, Adam Grant, great book.
Adam Grant. Exactly. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. Yep. All right. So
I'm sorry.
I also have 50 million tabs.
Yeah, don't judge me.
We're the same human being. All right. So I was part of a team that tied longitudinal career data to university attendance and developed ways where you could see that. And so as you see, James has typed in Morehouse College. Anything that says higher education, if you click on it, it takes you to the university page, which is one of the pages, one of the things that we built within LinkedIn when I was there. So if you click on that, James, Morehouse College, it's going to take you to the page that the university represents within LinkedIn. So Morehouse actually does the imagery, they do the content and stuff like that. But it allowed us to build something that I think is relatively unique, which is an alumni database that shows all the alumni of a university by where they live, where they work, what they do. So if you click on alumni, and this was affectionately called John Hill in a Box in development.
Can I say, John?
During LinkedIn, this is my baby.
I never clicked on the alumni button on LinkedIn on any school I ever went to. Never.
How crazy is that, right?
Huh?
How crazy is that now that you know how it works? And so, and this has been around for 10 years. So now I have the 23,000 alumni from Morehouse. And James, if you click next down below, so you see where right above where they work.
Okay. Oh, next. Oh, yeah, right.
Next,
I'm never clicking the next button either. But okay.
Okay. So now I can see what they do and what they're skilled at. Click next one more time.
Yeah.
And I can see what they study. Oh, so you have the basic version. So you're missing something. So we're going to do this a little bit different. We got to get you upgraded. So scroll back down. You're missing a component that scroll back up.
Okay.
And do a search in that bucket. Search alumni by title, keyword, or company.
Okay.
Right. And put in quotes, venture capital.
Venture capital in quotation.
Yep.
So it returns all as one.
So it'll take that phrase off a profile on LinkedIn. So now hit return on that search.
Okay.
And now you have the 210 alumni that are associated with venture capital that went to Morehouse, and you can see where they work, where they live. So we're going to go where they live. You live in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So click on the 49 in Atlanta. Yep. Now scroll down below and you now have in your backyard the 49 people that are in venture that have a profile on LinkedIn that went to Morehouse. And if you keep scrolling down, you can see how you relate to them. So a lot of these are first and second level connections.
Yeah.
So then you can see the relationships you have in between you. So go up a little bit, James, just a little bit. So for instance, Elliot.
Yeah.
Look at who one of your first level connections is that connects you to him.
Amos.
Yeah, who is Amos?
Amos is the managing director of Techstars Austin.
Right. So somebody who has invested in you, cares about you, right?
Huh.
And so you ask Amos to do affordable to Elliot, say, hey, I'm building this company, would love your insight in it.
Yeah.
We both went to Morehouse, and like the simple way to break down the alumni affiliation, why this is important. If anybody on this call, like if I could see you right now, if I asked you to raise your hand, if you would support or help a student from Morehouse or your university that you went to in conversation, if they reached out to you and said, hey, I really want to learn about you, how many of you would take that call? Everybody on this call would raise their hand, or likely most would, right?
Of course.
You're playing off that same affiliation to get into these investors, right? So I want to show you another thing that I think is interesting, James. Go up to my network, all the way up to the top. So the primary navigation. So home,
Oh,
my
yeah.
network jobs. Yep. Click on that. Okay. Now go to connections on the left.
Yeah.
Okay. Now go to search with filters.
Okay.
I just showed you how to do a lead list for investment out of a university. So I can see all the investors based on venture capital. I could use other words like angel investors, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So go to first level and then see where it says first up top, click on first and second. So based on research at LinkedIn, hit show, this is your relational network. The most opportunities come out of not who you know, first level connection, but who they know, connection of connection, second level connection.
Mhm.
Reid Hoffman actually wrote a book on it. 85% of job opportunities come out of not who you know, first level connection, but who they know, second level connection out of relational networking. So now if you go to all filters on the top,
Mhm.
yep, click on that. Now scroll down, keep going. You're going to look at industry, right? What's the number one thing we need as a founder? Capital.
Yeah.
Click on venture capital and private equity. Hit
Yeah.
show results. So go down to the right-hand corner, bud.
My
Keep
thing
going. The blue button. Yep. Click on the blue button.
is this
Show
little
results.
is in the way here. Let me see. I gotta move this. There we go.
Yeah. There you go. And so you have connection to 36,000 people who are in venture at a first or second level. So the other interesting thing about networks is if you build quality networks, it gives you access to the people you need. You have 36,000 people that can support you in venture already at a direct level or an indirect level. So I can directly connect to them, or I can create affordable to connect to those people. Go up to locations, James, next to venture capital. Let's
Yeah.
type in or just click San Francisco, and you
Yeah.
can type in any city in the world. Hit show results. And
Yeah.
now if you're doing a funding run into the Bay Area, you can see through relationships how you can reach 2,400 people. And look at Christine. Look at the first two people who connect you to Christine, right?
Brad and
Who,
Dave. I mean,
yeah, who retweeted this talk
yeah.
24 hours ago,
David Cohn retweeted it.
right? You know, so you have social capital there that you can do affordable to get into Christine. So
Sure.
now I
100%.
can utilize relationships to bring the barrier of entry down and connect into people. And again, if I start with the advice piece, if I start to just build the relationship, downstream when I'm ready to ask for capital, these people already know me and I'm vetted through people that they already know, which
Mhm.
means that like I rise on the list on somebody that they're looking at because you know I'm essentially qualified deal flow. Like I'm
Mhm.
coming in through network, and that's how all these people get companies into their top of funnel to invest in. It's through people that they know. Direct connection, first level connection, or connection of a connection, second level connection. The best people that you can reach out to are people who are founders that have been invested in a from an investor.
Mhm.
Because if you talk to them, you can do your due diligence, find out if that's an investor you want to work with. And then if they make an introduction, the investment firm has already invested in that company. They pattern matched. They think you're a good company to talk to. That's the best introduction you can get into an investor.
100%.
So pretty cool.
Oh my God, it's amazing. And I'm gonna stop sharing now, okay? Hey, everybody, if you have any questions, we have 11 minutes with John. Drop your questions in the Q&A. Yeah, like, bro, like the affordable emails, that is the jam. It's not even, because, so, I think I added you to my Paper Street investor updates.
Yeah,
And
you know Paper Street's a Techstars company, right?
I do. I talk to that guy
Yeah.
a lot. Like that, the CEO of that company is not my bestie. I was having some issues with it. They weren't getting back to me. I was having problems, and I don't. I hit him up, and he's like, "Oh my God, so sorry." So now we're like besties. We're DMing on LinkedIn. He gave me a discount on our subscription. We're like besties. Um, but every week I'm like, "Hey, here's our investor wish list. Can you please go in and take a look at who you can introduce me to?" Brad and David did that, and like I have a bunch of meetings already set up and have had conversations because of the forwarded emails. And I know that
Yep.
if I reach out to these, I know for a fact, because one guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but he's a dope investor out of New York, Techstars investor. He's a real hard ass, but he's a badass dude and badass investor, right? And he actually helped me 2 years ago launch my foundation. Was Brad sent a forwardable email. He connected me with the people in Madrid for Open Collective. After that, I tried to engage with him on Twitter. He don't F with me at all, right? He helped me out, but then I sent a forwardable email to Brad. Brad sent it to him. He wants to talk to me about Kabila.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? The forwardable email thing is how you do that. And I have posted in this community about how to do, if you Google how to send a forwardable email, startup hacks by 2048 Ventures, there's a great article in there about how to do that. And I would just follow that template. That's what I've been doing. All right, we have a question. Forwardable email template for angels. Bro, the template it's just affordable for whoever, right? Just Google what I just said and just follow that structure. I did it. I had a call with Gangels, you know those guys?
Mhm.
Massive, hundreds of millions of dollars they're investing. I had a call with him on Saturday. He was traveling. He's like, let's just do it Saturday. I'm fucking tired. I didn't want to do it, but I'm like looking at my calendar. It's a dumpster fire. I'm like, yes, let's do it Saturday because we ain't gonna get to it in 3 weeks, and we got a couple months runway left on this Techstars convertible note, right? And so he's talking to me. He's like, I told him that we're trying to bake inclusion and minimize inherent bias in the way we're developing our app. He's like, oh yeah, I got a portfolio company. They're doing something interesting with a dating app that you might want to copy. I'm like, oh, can you introduce me? He said, sure. The next day I emailed him about it. He said, send me a forwardable email. I used that same exact format I just told y'all to go Google, and the same day, dude was like, yeah, I'm game to talk. I got to call him Friday. He ain't my CTO. Just saying. All right, more questions. So let me.
So let me break down the structure real quick though, James, because I want to like put it in as simplistic terms about how to navigate this. Right. So think about how we started this conversation, and that's input, which is navigating relationships for advice. Right. You start early. You start to build a relationship early, right, before you need it. So it's there when you do. Right.
Yep.
We get into the throughput. That's the direct ask. Right. And that's when we start to say, hey, your thesis matches what my company is building. We know all these people. I have a credibility lens. I get introed to you from these people. We've had a conversation long term. You're aware of who I am, right? Increases the odds that you have some level of success. At a minimum, a meeting. At a maximum, you get some investment. And then you have the output. And this is where I see a lot of founders fall down. You have to continually water your network. So founders tend to be just in time when it goes through navigating relationships,
Yep.
right? I'm raising a round right now. I'm really interested in investors. Okay, I got my money. Now I'm really interested in talent, right? I got my talent. Now I'm really interested in customer acquisition. So I'm going to focus on external people. And I've forgotten to keep the investors warm. You always want to keep them warm, because if you ever have to go back to that well, they still feel like you care, that you're engaged. And by the way, every human has feelings. Every human wants to know that you care about their advice, their thought process, who they are, what they're about, right? And there are simple ways that you can do that. Just sending notes on a yearly basis or a monthly basis or whatever, saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, right? Or as we were going through this process, I remembered a conversation we had when we were doing diligence with you. And I just want to let you know, like, this is how we approached it and solved it, right?
Yeah.
Like, show people you care so that they can continue to care about you.
Yeah. 100%. So Sneha has a question. This is kind of what she was getting at. Apart from monthly updates, what can I do to keep investors engaged or invested in our growth journey, even if I'm not raising in the near future? So I will say, here at Techstars, we do weekly updates. Weekly. Um,
Yeah. So I think updates are one. Again, what I just told you, as you're building your product, if you generated advice from an investor that you implemented, let them know about it. Let them know about the outcomes, right? I
mhm,
do simple things to keep my network warm. James, I talked about it when I spoke within the program, a
mhm.
couple weeks ago. If I see people in my network have moved from one job to another, I'll introduce them to people that I know at the company that they go to work at. If I see people have moved from one state or city to another, or country to country, I'll introduce them to people that I know there. I do that every single day. And in a given year, I can reach 7,000 to 8,000 people in my network supporting something that they're doing professionally. And so, like it's a little bit formulaic, but I would say relationships are the lifeblood for everything that we do. And it's probably the most underrepresented presented or developed thing that I see with early seed stage companies.
Whew, yeah. So how much time a day are you spending doing this? Because that sounds like a lot of work.
15, 20 minutes a day. I can reach 15, 20 people doing it. And then in a given year, do the numbers on just reaching out on, connecting people moving or jobs, or I celebrate their work accomplishments. And instead of hitting like that like button, I send them a direct note. I can reach about 5,000 people a year on that. I do a serendipity play, which is once, like several times a day. But as I'm thinking about people, I just will send them a note telling them I'm thinking about them. No action required. If they want to respond, great. If they don't, they still get a note saying I care about them, right? And that allows me to keep probably 8,000 people warm in a given year, so that if I have to ask for something for a founder, they're more likely to connect with them. And it's the reason I do it.
Man,
Well, actually, it's not the reason I do it. For me, it's intuitive. Like I just do it because I like doing it.
this is amazing. Yeah, you're right. Like I do see so-and-so started a new position, and I would usually just hit the like button.
Yep. But that's what everybody else is doing. So if you want, like, cutting through the clutter is what this is all about as well. And so, James, I told your group, like at the end of every year, instead of writing holiday cards, I write 100 handwritten notes to people who changed or affected my professional life the year before. You want to cut through the clutter, write a handwritten note. And you're taking the time to do those holiday cards anyway, you might as well do them with meaning. And so, like, but those are the little things you pick up on, because in relationships are so important. And so, I put a call out just the other day looking for founders to give some, advice to other founders. I reached out to 10 founders and got response from 9. That doesn't happen because, of Techstars or Lens. It's like we have a relationship and connection. They know it. And so it's so important to continually water your network. And as important to build a quality network, not a quantity network. You want to connect with the people who actually will be able to support and move you forward.
Yeah, I wish we had more time to dig into that, because I have some opinions about that. 100%.
Totally.
Yeah, people treat LinkedIn like Facebook, and it's a mistake.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of open networking at all.
Massive mistake. So, all right, so we have 2 minutes. We got to roll because I got to head into my weekly CEO meeting with Amos and the other Techstars.
Yeah, please tell Amos I said hi.
I will. So everybody, they can connect with John he's at Techstars John on Twitter. Please follow him. You heard what he said. Send him a note, right? Send him a tweet. Say, hey, I saw you in the Kabila community. What you said here was so impactful. I tried this. It worked. Thank you so much. Now you're on his radar. Right? And after response, if I were you, I'd be like, hey, would you do me the honor of please connecting with me on LinkedIn? That's what I would do. And after I send you that tweet and you do that, of course you're going to say yes when I ask you for that, right? Just say yes. That's how you got to move. All right, Twitter handle again, at Techstars John, John. All right, everybody, thanks for coming in. I got to go because I got to stay out of the doghouse. I do some dumb shit here at Techstars every week. It's just so hard. It's so hard.
James, you're a good one. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
I love you, man. I appreciate y'all. Take care.
See you, bud.